Ready for a build video? Well, I got one hell of a build here to show you guys, so let's go check it out. Hey everybody, it's Bubba from Exodus 4x4, and we build badass Jeeps, and that's exactly what we got going on here. We got a really badass Jeep that we just wrapped up, customers picking up today. We thought, man, we better make a video out of this one. Just look at it. It doesn't look like anything we've ever built before, and for good reason. I had a customer call me late last year. He wanted to know if I could build him a Starwood type Jeep. I almost hung up on it because you guys know we don't build that kind of Jeep, but he was really what he was referring to was the finish on the Jeep. You know, we don't do that kind of thing here, but I said, look, I can build you something way better than Starwood can, and we can still give you the finish that they are famous for. We agreed that we would build him a really nice Jeep with just about everything that he wanted. We would have it sent off to Starwood and they could do it, which is exactly what you got going on right here. It's almost like 60 grit sandpaper on here. He wanted blue, and that's what he got. And I'm not gonna say it looks bad, it's just not my thing, but it definitely is an eye catcher. You're gonna see as we go through this build, that's exactly what this customer wanted. He wanted something that was gonna get everyone's attention. So better place to start than with the finish on it. But what he really wanted was a drivetrain that would blow the doors off anything out there. Obviously he's gonna want a Hemi, right? We talked through the build, and I said, you know what? It sounds like to me the best thing for you to do is buy a brand new Jeep. Just buy one straight off the showroom floor and bring it over here and we'll build it out, which that's exactly what we did. This one started out as a black 2020 Jeep Wrangler JL UR with the 2-liter engine, the 2-liter turbo engine, which by the way is a great engine. Cool, but it's no Hemi. He wanted to make sure it was still boosted, so that's what we went with. He bought the Jeep, I went to the dealership, I picked up the Jeep and I brought it back here, pulled the body off and threw one of these in there. 707 horsepower Hellcat Hemi engine, 650 plus foot-pounds of torque. This thing is going to blow the doors off of anything. It's really fun to pull up next to other vehicles at a stoplight, give them a little bump to the throttle, and then just take off, you know.
That's totally irresponsible. Don't be doing it.
Put it on the rollers, ended up putting over 520 horsepower down to the wheels, like 517 torque. Amazing numbers. 488 gears and 37-inch trail grapples. Not V-locks. This guy's he's not going to be trail riding this Jeep too much, but it's definitely more than capable of going off-road. Spicer UD60 axles front and rear. Now I know a lot of you out there are going to be saying, why didn't we put the Danny 80s in the rear? He's not drag racing this thing. He didn't feel like he was going to be going off-road very much, but we know for a fact the stock axles weren't going to hold up, so we did the Spicer UD60 axles. Great axles, readily available at all times. We can pick some of those up and have them here within a couple days, unlike the 12 to 14 week build time we get on a lot of crate axle builds. So right off the shelf, these things are going to work. The Taser Automotive OEM lockers, cables, we can plug those in and function them straight off the factory Rubicon switches. You're never going to know. It's just like the Hemi swap. It looks OEM, it feels OEM, it acts OEM. That's why we like using the Taser cables. They work great. Synergy steering on those axles. We're going to have a Synergy tie rod, a Synergy drag link, a Synergy track bar. Why? Because in my opinion, Synergy makes the best steering components for the Jeep platform. We never have problems with the Synergy products. And when you build something like this, you want to put the very best in there, and that's what he got in steering. Also, steering-wise, we put a PSC Gearbox underneath the hood and a PSC Ram to help control the steering on this thing. You know, he may go off-road in this thing, and if he does, we definitely want him to be able to turn with ease, even if it's locked up. And that's exactly what PSC does. It gives you that perfect steering no matter what's going on with the Jeep. No expenses spared when it came to this build. Lighting, we want to make sure we got cool lighting on this, right? High beam off-road, these are cool. They're RGB lights. You can do all kinds of cool shit with them. They're really fun. Baja Designs, driving lights up here. That way if he's got a foggy morning or something, he can flip these on. He'll have no problem seeing in the dark or the fog with these guys on there. Also, you'll see that light bar up there. What I love about the Baja Designs light bar is it's narrow enough that you can't tell it's even there. I mean, other than the reflection off of it, it's a very low profile. It blends in well with the rest of the vehicle. Road Armor fenders, not exactly my style, but the customer loved it. Turns out I was a little skeptical about it, but you know what? They don't look as bad as what I thought they would. They actually look really good on here. Baja Designs, the light bar mount, with it being painted with the Starwood finish on it, blends in really well with the rest of the Jeep. So you almost don't even notice the light bar mount. And I think that really goes a long way with that low profile body design to light bar. I'm not a fan of light bars, but man, the way all this kind of worked together, that doesn't look bad at all. Road armor bumper on the front, back down here. Just keep everything road armor. My guys were really, really good at cutting some tabs off on here. Our powder coat guys were able to refinish this bumper. You can't even tell the tabs were ever on here because we wanted those lights down below here. We didn't want them sticking up. It kind of looked goofy to me. This looks really, really good actually. Factor 55, I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but there's a trend with colors in this Jeep. Factor 55 link up here on the front. They make the best stuff as far as recovery gear and links. Can't go wrong with those guys. And like I said, spare no expense on this build. He went with the very best. Suspension wise, you're not gonna build a Jeep like this without putting some really, really premium suspension in this thing. Now, we could have gone double throwdown, right? But I don't want to sell something to somebody that they don't really need. Before anybody says anything about, do you really need a Hellcat? I get it.
You don't have to say it.
But we wanted to give them the most tunable suspension we could. So we went with coilovers, and we wanted to give them the best ride quality good. So we went with long arm. Evo manufacturing, high clearance long arm kit with their bolt-on coilover. Custom spring rates, because obviously the springs that come with them aren't going to support the weight of the Hemi. So we did custom spring rates. We're able to powder coat the springs and give them a nice blue color. Imagine that, right? King bump stops. Why not? If he does go off-road and he starts jamming on this thing pretty hard, he's going to really appreciate those hydraulic bump stops. 37-inch Nitto trail grapplers. I believe that Nitto makes the very best off-road tire out there. So, of course, we're going to put it on this Jeep. Rockslide engineering steps. I mean, you guys know we put these on a lot of Jeeps around here. We have a lot of customers that come from a long way just to have us put them on there. It doesn't have the armor upgrade on this because we don't feel like he's going to be doing as much rock crawling as a lot of you other guys do that. We just didn't include him in this build. It's not something that we can't put on there later. So if he decides, hey, I'm going to start taking this thing off-road a lot more, we can add that armor in it anytime. It's not that big of a deal. Evo inner fender liners, we use the same powder coat. You'll see that little bit of blue pop every now and then. I love the way, I think it's called Hawaiian blue or something like that from Prismatic Power, but it doesn't exactly match the Jeep, and sometimes that's okay. It's almost like having a third accent color it pops.
It's called a dust pop.
You know, it looks good on there. Kind of a translucent blue. I don't know. I really, really dig it. We left the Rubicon Swaybar in the front, but the rear, we wanted to do something a little bit different because of the suspension we were doing. So we went with the Antirock. Because we did that, wasn't going to really work out with the reservoirs the way we had them mounted. So FYI, if you're running an Evo coilover suspension and you want to run the Antirock in the rear, you're going to have to do something a little bit different. And we're going to show you what we did. It looks really clean. Now, if you're going to be banging on this thing really hard off-road, you might want to not do this. You might want to put it somewhere else. But for this customer, we think we're going to be okay. And I'll show you what I'm talking about down here. We mounted the reservoirs right here. Now, these all have compression adjusters. So not only did we do coilovers, but we did adjustable coilovers. So we have some compression adjusters on here. That gives the customer, puts a little bit of tunability in their hands. So if they feel like they want to make it a little bit firmer, all they got to do is come back here and give it a few turns on the dial, make it a little bit firmer ride. Or, you know, sometimes they want it to be firmer and then they're going to be doing something else. They want it to be softer, they can dial it back. But you can see that normally the reservoir would mount right here. Well, we moved it around, we put it back here this time to give room for that Rock Jock Antirock. Road armor bumper and tire carrier. This is something that you don't see us do a whole lot of, but I wanted to keep those body lines the same throughout. So yeah, I could have put a different tire carrier, could have put a different rear bumper, but by running all the same brand of accessories on the outside of the vehicle, those lines just work together really well. From front to back, it just flows really well. It's a hinge carrier, so it's going to operate when you open the tailgate. When you close it, it's going to close with it. So it's super strong. Relocated the license plate up here, not on the side. So it pretty much covers the outside of the vehicle. Now let's check out some of the more fun stuff on the inside of the vehicle. Check out that steering wheel. That's different, right? Well, with a Jeep this sporty, we wanted to go do something a little bit different. You see it's got the red stripe. You know, I guess if you ever got so crazy, you got disoriented or whatever, you didn't know which way the wheel was turning, but that'll tell you where center or straight would be, so you can pop it up real quick. But this is a carbon fiber steering wheel. It looks real good. We changed out the stereo. While we were in there, we went ahead and wrapped the dash pieces. I don't know if you guys figured it out, but I think his favorite color is blue. Check out these seats, cat skin leather. He did the diamond stitching on it. We had the Hellcat logo embroidered into it for him. Really finishes out the vehicle really, really well. It's sexy as hell. Let's just say that. You could tell right in here, we had the stitching. We even dyed the stitching blue on the doors. to match the seats. We blacked out some of the stitching in some of the other places. You'll still see red in the steering wheel and on the dash piece up here, and that's because the sun would have faded it out had we tried to dye it a different color. But it definitely looks good. This Jeep didn't come with remote start from the factory or an alarm. So we had that added in as well. Super clean, super easy to install. I don't do stereos. We subbed that out to Audio Source that's here in New Braunfels, and they did a knockout job on the wrap material, and they did the stereo, they did the alarm and the remote start all over there. That's not something we do, so don't be calling me to put in stereos. I don't put in stereos. In addition to the stereo, we went ahead and replaced every single speaker and component in this thing with JL audio. So it really thumps in here. It is badass. They went ahead and put in an extra subwoofer on the driver's side over here. That was all custom built. Looks really good. Looks clean. You'd almost think it came from the factory like that, but you can see this guy right here. It just blends into the Jeep. It blends in with the rest of the vehicle very well. All right, well that covers the build. Now let's go talk about the ride. Right. Not only did we put the logo on the seats, but we don't want him to forget that he's got a Hellcat while he's driving around, so we put one on the dash down there. Just a little accent piece, you know, so maybe his customers know what's going on with it. But as you can see, no lights, right? Everything's just normal on here. It's just like it came from the factory. It's not loud. You can hear the supercharger really open up when you're driving it. It's like wow, like a Hellcat. Anyways, I'm still amazed. I can't say that enough, like how blown away I am at how these things drive and handle with this much power in them. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, guys. You get out there and you're driving one of these around, be careful, because this is not, you know, a car. This is a very top-heavy vehicle, and that's a lot of power to be put in here. So please be responsible when you're driving one of these. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by a really sweet looking LJ over there. The thing looks clean, like factory. You don't deserve that Jeep. I want that. Definitely going to be a head turner once this guy takes it home today. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this Hellcat build. If you want us to build you one of these, give me a call, email me, and we'll work it out. In the meantime, go watch some more videos up here.